Zim Whodey. Zim, welcome to the program. How was the anniversary? What did you guys do, if I may ask?
I appreciate you bringing that up. That's awesome. I had came back into town after a great victory, right? So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling awesome. I went to this really, really nice restaurant. It's like what a President E said. It's called the Lafayette. If you're ever in Southwest DC, Northwest DC, really, really elegant. We were like the only couple in there at the end. I purposely did it at the end to add that spice of romance to it, where it's just us having a great conversations, no cell phones, really talking it out. Just talking about like that, that 1 year that we just went through. It was awesome. Then, after that, just hit up the town a little bit, just walked, waterfront action, me.
Holding hands and with your favorite gal in the world.
Yep, holding my hands and, woke up the next day, had a nice brunch. It was awesome.
That's fantastic. Congratulations and belated happy anniversary. And I assume your son, last time we checked in with you, you had the parent-teacher conferences. I had my parent-teacher conferences this week for our son. He's senior in high school. And like you, was just thankful and grateful and appreciative of how focused and how well he's doing. And you feel the same way about your son.
Did you see the Jimmy Chase one? Did you see the Jimmy Chase special, Jamar's father?
I did not see it. I did not.
Oh, it's amazing. You got to watch it. They had him mic'd up for the game, and then they had, Jamar mic'd up simultaneously, and then they kind of did like a 15-minute. The Bengals tweeted it and stuff like that, so you should check it out. Like it's really it's a tearjerker at some points in there, so it's a really good overview of how he got here. His Rummel High School, going to LSU and all that, and then they roll it all into one Sunday at the Superdome. And he predicted that he was going to go crazy in the game, so it was awesome.
I will definitely check that out because I love those kinds of stories. I love hearing the backgrounds of these players because a lot of times, we almost look at them as robots in every sport, and everybody has a story. I don't care if you're a professional athlete or whether you're the guy walking down the street here in Hamilton and things aren't going so well. Everybody has a story, and I love the stories. All right. Are you coming into Cincinnati for the game or no?
No, I'm not this week. I gotta talk to my loyal faithful. We call it the Harry Nuts gang. It's where you just kind of lay it down all on the line, and we kind of watch the game together, like 500, 600 Bengalis hanging out watching football. I'm back home at the Harry Nuts gang. We're going to do it this Sunday and deliver a victory.
And how did that start? So when you say 500 or 600, you mean online, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did that start?
We started off, so the legend of Zim Whodey was born and cultivated at a Steelers game, actually. So this kid there said, man, I want to go to a game, but, I'm going to be by myself. So, can you come with me to a game? So I go to a game, and we rage, and I go live on Instagram. And I noticed how many people were like watching it. And a lot of people said, can you turn the camera so we can see the game? They don't show the game. And so after that game, I went home and the following week I did like my first live stream where I kind of give commentary as the game's going on. And that's where your son probably found me because
that's right.
Because a lot of people just don't see the game. So I just started doing that. So here we are like, 3-4 years later. The name came, Harry Nuts Gang, came because they were making a lot of decisions and they were shaved. And now we're like just scruff it up. Stuff gets hairy sometimes, so we developed the name and we haven't looked back since. I want to go back real quick to that Jimmy Chase one. One of our rituals too is we kind of meet up before the game. We kind of say like a certain thing. He was mic'd up, so I didn't make the cut though. Needless to say, I'm a little too explicit, I think, for the Bengals taste buds or whatever. So just another little nugget in there. Like I did see him, but I don't think I made the cut on that one.
Well, you should have, and that's a mistake of whoever made that video, whether it's the Bengals or Paramount Pictures or whoever it might be. That's their mistake, and they're lost, quite honestly, without having Zim Whodey on there. All right, last week, and we've been talking about it all week this week. Last week, everybody knew the Saints were going to run the ball. That's their calling card, right? And, the Bengals are a little thin along the defensive line right now, starting with DJ Reader, among others. And the Saints run for 228 yards. Now, all of a sudden, the Bengals are facing, albeit at home, they're facing the third best rushing team in the National Football League. They're coached by a former offensive lineman. You don't see many of those guys around in this day and age, and that's where they hang their hat. Are you concerned about the Atlanta run game, Zim Whodey? Yay or nay?
No. Because
No?
You limited me to yes or no, so I couldn't give you an in between. If the Bengals, so I had to say no. You got to let it just let it fly. So for me, I just think that they'll have successful runs, they'll be successful at points, but if they're not successful with a lead, it doesn't really matter to the Bengals because right now, currently the offense is clicking. So you can run all you want, but you better put points on the board with us. So if the Bengals get out to a lead and you're running the football, much like a little bit of like what we saw the Saints game. You talked about that game. Yes, they ran for 160 yards in the first half of the football game. The Bengals defense then made their adjustments. Second half of the football game, the Saints only run for 56 yards. They're limited to 2 field goals and 2 big spots. The Bengals defense comes up really, really big on a drive prior to them getting the ball back. And then another drive after that, and that's the mechanics and the workings of championship football in my mind. It's not limited to a box score. It's limited to the big stops at key points. And if the Bengals have a lead in this game, they don't want the Falcons don't want Marcus Mariota to throw the football. The other victory that Marcus Mariota had or whatever had 7 throws. Last week it was 14 throws.
Yep.
So it tells me if I can get you behind what you want to do, unlike that game that they had, I think with the Buccaneers, they were down 21 points. They kept on running the football. Keep on running the football down 10, 12 points with Joe Burrow at the helm and Joe Mixon running the ball effectively downhill. You'll lose every time.
I got to tell you, though, I think that because now had the Saints used more of Taysom Hill at quarterback, which now you're not only trying to defend Kamara, Ingram running the ball, right? You're also having to commit somebody or some bodies to the possibility of Hill running the ball. I still can't understand why the Saints did not do more of that, but especially the second half. But Mariota does present that challenge, and he's going to play. I mean, they can come at you with a power run game, and we had Big Low Country yesterday. I mean, he's the Zim Whodey of Atlanta. I don't know if you know Big Low Country. He's big league.
No, I don't know.
But a good dude, really good dude. But, he was saying, look, they're going to run at least 13, 14, 15 RPO stuff as well. And we know Mariota, he hadn't had a great career as a number 1 pick, but he's had, he's been okay at times. But he does still present that challenge.
He does. The part that he's leaving out is they were about a game away from probably benching Mariota, and then he goes 13 for 14, like in the 49ers game or whatever. So they were, like this concept of Marcus Mariota and his running attack. You got to think a lot of those yards were accumulated too when Cordell Patterson was there, all the big runs, and he's on an injured reserve. So again, I understand that, and I tell the opposition this a lot. Is that they always kind of focus on what they do really well, and then they forget the fact that the Bengals do a lot of stuff really well on their end too. I want to give you a really good stat. The Falcons currently right now, their defense ranks total yards allowed 30th in the NFL, passing yards allowed 32nd, dead last. As far as sacks accumulated 31st, score percentage 28th, pressure, which Joe Burrow, like if you don't have Micah Parsons or TJ Watt, what are you to me? Pressure, 32nd. Third down conversion rate, 30th. With that said, Joe Burrow's among the lead at third down percentage at 42%. This matchup is 100% in the Bengals' favor, whether the Falcons believe that they're going to run the football or not.
I'm curious why you think, and those are great stats, and you can't argue with the numbers. They are what they are. I'm curious why you think, and you said this a couple of minutes ago, that the offense is clicking. Now, last week was the first time in their last 11 games, including the playoffs going back to last year, where they reached 30 points in a game. Okay?
Right.
They got there by, a short 9-10 yard out to Chase, 2 missed tackles. He busted off 60 yards, touchdown. They win the game. Why do you think, or what makes you think, that the offense is clicking? I see little bits and pieces here and there. They've been much more efficient in the run game the last couple of weeks. They're not running it a lot, but they've been more efficient when they do run it. Burrow put up big numbers last week. Didn't turn it over. Put up big numbers. But why do you think they're clicking?
From the beginning of that game, Joe Burrow was on fire. Like, me watching that unfold, even the first 2 drives that weren't successful, you remember you had the Jamar Chase one on the sideline that probably was a catch. Let me show you how on fire he was. If you took away the drops in that game, the Joe Mixon back of the end zone dart, the Jamar Chase deep pass, the T. Higgins drop, if you took away just the drops in this game, Joe Burrow was 31 for 36. Like, in his adjusted passing percentage, on fire. Yep. Second half of the football game, he only had 1 incompletion. On fire. There was literally nothing like their first down rate of anything of third down or less, like had like a 90-something good. Like, they were on fire. Like, there was nothing that they did that they could be stopped. I mean, that they were stopped on. The run game is now running the ball efficiently. And the people that were very quick to say fire Zach Taylor have to be just as loud to commend him on changing in a complete overhaul on what they do best out of shotgun systems. They totally went away from the zone blocking scheme that needed cohesion, which they couldn't acquire in the whole all season because nobody ever played together. Yep. They go to a whole entire gap scheme and say, we're going to run RPOs at the beginning of this game, checked out of a lot of different runs, and absolutely annihilated them. They did bits and pieces of that in the Ravens game, and in the second half of that football game, they caught on, and that's where you get the Joe Burrow touchdown at the end. It's just they caught on too late. By the time they go into the Saints game, it was on. It was RPOs at the beginning of the game. You take that to get the information from the defense. And then from there, they hit the ground running. The only defense that the Saints had for the Bengals this past week was just running the football and keeping Joe Burrow off the field. Because every single time that he was on the field, he was on fire. If the Bengals get a lead against the Falcons, this game is going to be ugly.
Well, I don't know if you heard Brandon Sayo every week down at the Hard Rock Casino, right?
Zim was part of it when we were doing it virtually.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, hey, Zim, you saw what happened. I know it's a video game, but it's been pretty good.
It was 25-14. Falcons won. Mariota had a great game.
Falcons won.
Mariota had a big game. So did Kyle Pitts. It was a slow start for the Bengals. They come back, but then they can't defend the RPO against the Falcons, and they end up winning 25-14.
I do worry about that a little bit. It's just in regards to time of possession. The Bengals' red zone defense, their third quarter defense. Have y'all seen the numbers?
Yeah.
Like, they still haven't allowed a touchdown in the second half.
They did for the first time in that Madden simulation.
On the simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life.
It's going to end sooner or later. You can't do that the whole year. It's remarkable what they've done.
Sure.
Gone 6 games this year without allowing
that they will be the
first?
Do you know that they will be the first team in I think ever or something that they go 7 games right now without allowing a second half touchdown. So I came up with this moniker called not a moniker, but this statement that I used to say your offense is your defense. If the Falcons can stay on the field, to me, that's the only defense that they could run on the Bengals currently right now. Honestly, with Casey Hayward, the cornerback 2 being out in this game, and then them already being 32nd in the NFL against the pass, it's the worst time to see the Bengals. I think as Bengals fans, we get really concerned about what they could do. I think if I'm a Falcons fan, I'm severely concerned on what I know that the Bengals will do.
Well, there's no doubt, and we heard that from Big Low Country yesterday. They're very, very worried. They have 4 defensive starters that were on the injury report this week. They were limited. That doesn't mean they're out, but they were limited, and it's a shaky defense, as you just perfectly analyzed, giving out all the stats. All right, Zim, before we let you go, your prediction for this game is?
Bengals win.
What you want to give me a score?
I'm kind of superstitious like that. You know, I don't do
Okay,
the
all right,
scores.
then I'm not going to break that. I get it.
But I will say I like that Seho score just now. I just like it reversed.
Put in reverse, Terry.
Put it in reverse, Seho. Hey, look, once they
Thom has no idea what we're talking about.
No idea. What is that? No inside jokes here. What is it?
It means fireworks are coming out there at Paycor. That's what
It's there's some viral video of this guy in he's in like
he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, motorized cart, and he lights a firework, but the firework goes off right next to him, and all of his friends are yelling, "Put in reverse, Terry, back it up."
All right, okay.
We'll show you.
But the guy was okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Terry
So I don't want you guys sitting here making fun of guys.
No. It's one of the most viral videos.
Okay, I'll have to check.
Terry had a great time lighting those fireworks, and I think that Joe Burrow's. I'm serious. I feel like Joe Burrow's going to have a Terry moment out there lighting fireworks. The thing about the Bengals, though, this is another thing I want to tell you about their 30 points. Zach and them, like I seen it in the Raiders game last year, the regular season one. I think they scored 32 in the game, but they do have a habit of if they get a lead, they'll put it in the cruise control and let Mixon and P-Rod just walk it off. If they know that the other quarterback can't score, they won't. They're not trying to go 30 points. They're just trying to cruise into a victory once they get a good lead. I'm telling you.
That's right. I mean, a win is a win, but it seems like. And look, Cincinnati's no different than half the NFL cities right now, where everybody seems to be sitting at 3-3. Everybody feels like this is it seems like we say every week, this is a huge game. It's a huge game. If this team is going to get on a roll, and they win last week after the loss against the Ravens. If they're going to get on a roll, they have to win this game tomorrow. They've not had good luck against the Browns. I know the Browns are down. They're playing Baltimore this weekend.
Yeah.
But they go up there next Monday night, Halloween night. That's going to be a tough game. Then they got the
That's
Panthers.
A must win.
Yeah. What's that?
The Browns game is a must win. There's a world that I live in. They could lose this game or the Panthers game, which would be horrible, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. You lose the Browns game and go 0-3 in the division, it might be like lights might be out. Like the Browns game is the must.
Well, it would be lights out to win the division. That's for sure. I'm not so sure at the end of the day that you got 17 games in a league. I'll tell you, I don't think Baltimore is very good. I think the Bengals they're average. They have a chance to be better than average, but right now they're average. They're 3-3. They're average. You could say they could be, they should be, whatever, but they're 3-3. So I wouldn't be surprised if 9-8 won this division. I really wouldn't. I would not be surprised at all.
I think that last game of the season might be a 10-7 versus 9-8 type of game.
Yep.
And the winner goes in, the loser goes home. I really think that the season's setting up like that for both parties.
See, that's why I think you're spot on when it comes to the Cleveland game next week, if you win this week. But you got to pile up wins where you can get them. I know that's a big duh. But if you're playing Atlanta at home, Cleveland's going to be a tough game, even though they're not that great, but they're not bad either. Carolina, these are games you've got to stockpile wins to get them to start building up.
Joe said that. Joe said that they have to win, or the next 3 games tell them, a lot about the upcoming season. Yeah. But I have a saying. I created this last year. This is on ZimWhodey.com.
Plug.
It's a whole lot of orange right now. It's a whole lot of orange. You see this face right here? This is the rock star. This is the number 9. This is the world on our back, on our shoulders. Here we come. Here we roar. Whole lot of orange coming out there on Sunday, Thom. Get ready for it.
Believe me, I'm ready. I can't wait to watch a game. And I'm going to make sure that when Luke and I are watching the game together on Sunday, that we're going to dial you in. And that's on Instagram that you do the feed live. Is that right?
Yeah. Check me out on there.
Okay.
What's the drink of choice during the game? I asked the hard-hitting questions here.
Every day's a Margie party.
Oh, that's right. He's big on tequila.
Party.
Are we doing? You do Casamigos or what's the tequila?
Casamigos, Pat Ron. We can get busy. Even if you got some Don Julio, I'm known to get busy with that too. A little salt on the rim, and it's a Margie party. I might do that. What time is it? What is it? 11 o'clock? Shoot.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hey,
Thom, you a tequila guy?
That should be the name of a song. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Let's do it. Let's do a show called "It's 5 o'clock somewhere." No drinks are off limits for me. After we wrap up here, see, I gotta keep in my, I gotta keep in my professional when I get on with Thom.
Yeah.
When I get off, it might be a marquee party. I don't
Game
know if
on.
you saw me Did you see me in New Orleans?
I did. You
I
were on
went
your
crazy
game down
out
there.
there.
You were on your
I
game
was
down
on-
there.
I tore it up. You should have saw me on the dance floor. It was crazy. I burned them up.
I have no
I
doubt
left
about
the dance
that.
floor. People say shake a tail feather. I left the dance floor. It was feathers all over the damn city.
That's where you and I have a lot in common, Zim, because I'm one of the great dancers of all time. I caught your act. It's good, but it ain't there with me. You put on a little Jackson 5.
Yeah.
I'm dialed in.
Hey, the Jacksons are coming to the Hard Rock in a couple
I'm
weeks.
talking about the Jackson 5.
I know,
It'd be a
it's-
miracle if they came back.
Woo.
Right?
Tito.
I love Tito.
Nah,
Love all those
Michael's
guys.
not coming back.
Jermaine. I saw him in concert. I'm the only cat around here who saw him as a 10-year-old kid living in Virginia Beach,
Really?
Virginia. Yep,
That's
like the
crazy.
5th row, right there. There they were. All
I
right,
always
Zim.
wanted to see Prince. I'll never get that, but I always wanted to see Prince.
Yeah,
That's
he would have been
like
good to see too. I agree. Zim, have a great weekend. We'll be checking you out on Sunday on Instagram.
Sunday, baby. Let's get these dubs.
You the man.